Galamera, Galamera, Galamera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, what can you say? What an absolutely glorious day it is here today. I don't know about you, but everybody that Jane and I had spoken with yesterday had said that yesterday was probably one of the worst days ever over this lockdown period for a lot of people. Not just with the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh, but with just the way things just seem to be going at the moment. And that will also become apparent when I do my news today as well. And this morning we wake up and we suddenly feel positive again, maybe because the weather's on the turn. It's absolutely glorious. It's lovely and sunny. It's warm as well. It's not cold. Hey, it's the end of another week, as it were, and the weekend is here, and we shall see what direction next week is going to take. But in the meantime, just a little look at how the weather is. Obviously, Amanda Gregory's tuning in, and Rosewood as well. Let's see what your weather forecast has for us today. But there you go. That's the view, looking down towards Kerry and Amber Lockerbie. And Amanda says, morning Ginge, sunshine all day, highs of 16 degrees, but it'll feel like 20. Have a good day. I think that is the word. So there you go. Not a cloud in the sky, not a breath of wind anywhere either. And it's feeling absolutely glorious today. So that's the view down that part of the of the house. And look over to the other side of the area, looking down towards Lagana and also the Kalamaki direction. And again, really bright sunshine, absolutely glorious. My sunglasses have gone all dark now. It's going to make doing the news a bit difficult, but I don't care. But there you go, looking glorious. And the grass again, still looking absolutely fantastic, the grass, really nice. And as we look up over the top of the hill, looking towards Sillavi, absolutely awesome. I think they're going to have some nice weather up there today. Absolutely glorious. So there you go. That's the view from the garden today. So let's go up and have a look at the news of the day. One of the little chickens is up here having something to eat. Bless them. Hey, little darling. How you getting on? There you go. I'll just move out of the way a minute there. There we go. Right. Just going to quickly switch around the screen. And it hasn't given me my controls back yet. Let me try that again. Nice to see you looking in there, Shane, as well, up there on Exmoor. How is it up there today, fellow? Is it nice? Anyway, just to let you know, what a yesterday afternoon. As you're probably aware, we said yesterday one of our little cats, Sweetie, had kittens yesterday, and basically she got into a bit of a distress yesterday evening. We hadn't realised that she'd had a little tiny piece of plastic on the end of her tail. Where she picked that up from, I have no idea. And some of the afterbirth somehow had seemed to have got wrapped round her tail. She, in effect, was dragging the kittens when she was walking, so we managed to get hold of her. I then had to do a bit of surgery, basically cut the afterbirth clear of her tail, remove this little plastic ring that was on there. I also had to cut some of the afterbirth that was still connected to it, to the little kittens, and managed to do that without hurting them or anything else like that. And she's been absolutely fabulous. She really has been fabulous. So the three of them all still are surviving, which is brilliant. We thought she may lose at least one of them, but they're all surviving, and they're all, two of them are white, one of them are a tabby. So we don't know who she's been seeing, as it were. But yeah, she's been a good mum at the moment. She's feeding them, cleaning them, getting up, going to the toilet, then going straight back into a little, we've got a little dome that she's inside, and they're doing well. So we shall wait and see that everything works out. But anyway, so those people asking about the kittens, there you go. Right, let's have a look at the news then for today. Let's get down to it. Believe it or not, it's the 10th of April now. It's Saturday morning. It's day 156 of the lockdown. COVID in the last 24 hours. Some good news on that front at the moment. Infections are down. Yesterday we reported 3,228. Now the latest infection at the moment is 2,747. So that is down. Total amount of infections since it all started, 290,964. Anyway, there were 9 new cases identified at checks into the country, and that was down as well from 10 on the previous day. And according to the national stats, Lefkada had no new infections, Kefalonia had no new infections, Corfu had 8 infections, and Zakynthos reported 6 infections on the national stats. And when we looked at the local stats, they actually tallied, which was good to see. There were 6 cases of coronavirus recorded yesterday here on the island. The first 4 were identified through rapid testing, and the last 2 were through PCR tests that were carried out at the hospital. No information as to those people affected or anything else. But that means our national numbers have tallied with our local numbers, which is a good thing to see as well. That means at the moment, Zakynthos this month, according to my tally, we've had 74 confirmed cases here on the island for the month of April. And for the whole of the year now, that brings us up to 358 cases we've had since the beginning of the year. As for deaths at the moment, the death rate, unfortunately, in Greece has just crept up a bit. Yesterday I reported 73 deaths. Well, today it's 78 new deaths across the country. The death toll now so far has been 8,758. The average age of those people that have been affected has been 79 years of age, and 96% of those had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. When it comes to critical cases in hospitals, that I'm afraid has leapt up a little bit, quite a bit actually, to be quite honest. Critical cases yesterday in ICUs throughout the country was 776. At the moment, critical cases in ICUs across Greece at the moment is 790 cases in ICUs. 509 of those are male, and 281 of those are female. Once again, as has been pointed out, when the cases go up or go down, it's not sure as to whether they are people who've passed away or whether they are people who've been moved into another part of the ward where they don't need to be on an incubated bed to be treated. But again, the number is still going up in the ICUs across the country. So today's news then, obviously, as everybody has heard, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the husband to obviously the Queen, he passed away at the age of 99. Prince Philip was the son of Prince Andrew of Greece and the grandson of King George I of Greece. Jane and I should think everybody else, is offering our condolences to the royal family for their loss at this time. There has been revisions to what has been planned in the way of a state funeral. Philip wanted basically to go out quietly and with dignity, which was quite charming to read. Prince Philip's funeral is expected to take place next Saturday in a ceremony and a lead up where the tradition is ensued with his no-nonsense style. He doesn't want a state funeral. The Duke of Edinburgh's own master plan for how his death would be marked insisted he would not have a state funeral or have a state lie-in either. Instead, he will be laid to rest at Windsor Chapel before the ceremony at St George's Chapel next Saturday in a ceremony that's expected to be socially distanced. The Duke will be buried at Frogmore Gardens in the grounds of Windsor Castle. There will be gun salutes in his honour, are also expected as a part of the days ahead. Now, the Queen has entered an 8-day period of mourning. His funeral code name, believe it or not, was Operation Fourth Bridge. Royal fans have been told not to attend any part of the events that make up the funeral due to the COVID restrictions, or to lay flowers that could encourage crowds which may spread the virus. Anyway, however, the question of who will be allowed to attend the ceremony for the funeral, because the royal family are still going to observe the restrictions that are in place as to how many people are allowed to attend the funeral itself. So again, service from this man right through to the end. I was reading some of the little stories about him yesterday. One thing I never did realise, he never paid an official visit to Greece, especially to Corfu. He always felt that how his birth was, he was born on a kitchen table in Corfu and then had to be smuggled in an orange box out of the country because his father had been obviously deposed as king of Greece at the time. And he always said that why did he want to go back to a country where they wanted to kill his father, because his father was sentenced to death and was obviously managed to escape Greece and wasn't sentenced to death. So again, he had a little bit of a wrangle with Greece from time to time, although it was interesting, shall we say. The Queen has only ever visited Greece once on an official visit. And I'm trying to remember when that was. I think that was quite in the early part of her career. But again, he was still a local boy. As they say, you can take the peasant out of the village, but you can't take the village out of the peasant. You can take the Greek out of Greece, but you never take the Greek out of the Greek, if you see what I mean. And as well, his little nickname was Phil the Greek as well, which people used to call him that as well. So again, our condolences to him, a man of a generation that we'll never ever see again, and a man who selflessly served the country. A lot of people said, oh, he was privileged, he was this, he was that. Trust me, having worked around the Royals in my time in the Royal Air Force, having done parades with the Queen and stuff like that, and even having had tea with the Queen on one occasion when the new standard was presented to RAF Halton, and also being in Cyprus at one point when the Commonwealth Conference was on. Their life is actually quite hard in reality. No privacy to speak of, in the public eye all the time. You can't escape it. And it's interesting when you look at what's gone on with Harry and all the others at the moment, because people are saying, is Harry going to come back? There was criticism levelled against him at the standard of message that he sent. You could feel Meghan's influence in his message to the nation on showing his condolences. His former girlfriend that he had, called Chelsea, that everybody kind of expected Harry to kind of marry, she actually took a step back and she said, you know what, I can't live in that society, in that circle. It isn't for me, because I understand the pressures they're under, and I understand the way that your life is completely changed. You have no private life to speak of. You're in the public eye all the time, and your job is to open fates, cut ribbons, show an interest in people's lives, and that is your job. That is your duty, and you are that until the day you die. Yes, you might be recompensed in that you're welcomed in places, you are wined and dined and that, but I think that's good in the short term. But in the long term, in the reality, I think it can be very difficult indeed. And that was one of the things about Philip, was the fact that he was a man of action. He had a very successful career in the Navy, and he had to forget all of that, and he had to basically put his wife first. He would always walk one step behind his wife whenever at public engagements. He was always the man that she would rely on, sound off on. I mean, at times they would argue, and I heard stories of arguments that took place on the Royal Yacht Britannia at times. However, it goes with life, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And I would dread to see how she is at the moment, with everything that's gone on in this, what is only can be described momental 2 years now, 2020 and 2021. And I think we were all rooting for him to get to 100. Anyway, let's crack on with the rest of the news. One of the big stories yesterday, which we had people phoning up from all over talking about they couldn't believe what's going on, is Jet2 suspended all flights and holidays until June the 23rd. And ministers have slammed the lack of clarity in the plans after the Transport Secretary Grant Schnapp says people can start to think about booking trips and tells profiteering COVID test firms to slash the costs of PCR tests. Anyway, Schnapp set out details of the traffic light system and when restrictions ease on May the 17th. Now, a review in June could slash quarantine and testing of popular tourist destinations and even allow free tests. Only a handful of countries, including Greece, the USA, Malta and the Caribbean islands are expected to be on the green list. Airlines are also demanding that the British government allows travellers to use cheaper and quicker lateral flow tests to be able to travel. Now, EasyJet executive John Lurgan claimed the plan was a blow to all travellers and risked making flying only for the wealthy. He added, as the rest of British society and the economy opens up, it makes no sense to treat travel, particularly to low-risk countries, any differently. Mark Taisner, the boss of the travel trade organisation ABTA, said permitting the use of lateral flow tests would make international travel more accessible and more affordable while still providing an effective mitigation against re-importation of the virus. Then Tim Adelson, the chief executive of Airlines UK, the industry body that represents the UK registered carriers, said the announcement does not represent a reopening of travel as promised by the ministers. Anyway, Mr. Schnapp has called on PCR COVID test companies to slash the costs of their COVID tests, which at the moment can be around about £120, and to slash it by at least half by summer. Well, half is still £60 a test. And the question is, why can France have COVID tests for only €15? So again, this story yesterday, with a lot of people who rely with work on Jet2, has caused absolute consternation among the people who work for the company here, plus as well, those people who've booked their holidays here, who were already sending me little messages, oh, I've just had my flight cancelled, I've just had my holiday cancelled, and now this is the reason that they have decided to cancel all their flights at the moment, or suspend their flights up until June the 23rd, which is still quite a way off at the moment, although the government was talking about May the 17th when international travel would start. So again, let's see if any changes to that this week, because again at the moment it puts us here in Zakynthos and in Greece in a quandary as to what is going to happen at the moment. Anyway, the World Travel and Trade Organization and Council had their economic income impact report, noting that on Friday I'm going to start this again, all right? The World Travel and Transport Council's annual economic impact report noted on Friday that the dramatic collapse of the Greek tourism sector has wiped out €23 billion from the country's economy and has cost tens of thousands in jobs. Now, the WTTC's report shows that the sector contributed to the gross domestic product a staggering 61.1% in 2020 after 3 successful years. The years of damaged travel restrictions are also resulted in the loss of more than 65,000 jobs in tourism across the country. The number of those employed in the Greek tourism sector fell from 825,000 in 2019 to 759,000 in 2020, a drop of 7.9%. Now, the WTTC believes the true picture could be significantly worse if not for the government's short-term working schemes, which offer a lifeline to thousands of businesses and workers. However, this is hiding a real extent of the losses and the devastating social impact they could bring. Their job losses were felt across the entire tourism ecosystem in the country, with small and medium-sized enterprises particularly affected. Furthermore, the impact on women, young people and minorities was significant. Ginge Coldwell, the president of and CEO of the WWTC, said the loss of more than 65,000 jobs in Greece has had a terrible social economic effect, leaving huge numbers of people worried about their future. However, the situation could have been far worse if it had not been for the government's job support scheme, which could save thousands of jobs under threat, which has helped to halt total collapse of the tourism sector. Now, some of that is true. I've got to be honest. Some sectors have been given help, but at the moment, there are certain people like my partner Jane. Her company has slipped through the net. Basically, when they changed the status of certain companies within the travel sector, where 1 minute they were classed as a seasonal business, and then they had their status changed mid-season from seasonal to full-time, it meant that the seasonal workers working for those companies never got paid. They never got any form of recompense. They had worked the required amount of days, weeks to get the insurance, to get their national insurance certificate, get their stamps, and still they have not had a penny in any form from OED. The companies themselves, I don't think, have done anything to help their workers, and it's still an ongoing battle. You heard me talking about this at the end of the season last year, about what was going on. It's still ongoing. Letters have been written to certain peoples in the government, communications between the accountants societies, because the accountants have been saying it's got to be raised to us to be pushed on. Everything is being done, and I know at least 4 people on this island who have not had anything in the way of any form of financial support from the government. Yet, if they'd worked in a bar, they worked in a restaurant, they worked in a hotel, they actually got taken care of. But there were other people that have slipped through the net who are still trying to get some form of compensation. And these people now are really worried because they see what's happening with the season being put back and put back. And the other big worry is that even if they do get back to work, because they took a gap of a year, that means they may have to requalify, taking them another 2 years to be able to get their OED or their ECA back again. So this is not over yet for a lot of people. And again, we're going to wait and see how this will continue to play out. Anyway, going back to the lady's statement, she said, "We must also praise the Greek government for its tremendous efforts and strategic steps to restart international travel. It has been an example throughout the pandemic, striking the balance between health, emergency and the economy by allowing international travel through very clear testing and hygiene protocols." Additionally, the clear roadmap to restart international travel from the 14th of May could reopen the door to the summer for travel for holidaymakers looking to get away to Greece, and will provide a significant boost to the country's economy. We believe that if the vaccine rollout picks up pace and restrictions for travel are relaxed on May 14th as planned, and with the comprehensive testing regime on departure in place, we predict most of the jobs lost could return this year. Anyway, I sincerely hope that she is right. Again, we are still here in Zakynthos particularly, still waiting to see what's going to happen with the UK, because whatever business you talk to, they say the same thing. It's all well and good, all these other nationalities are coming, but nobody spends like the British, and we need to just basically get the British back. So as soon as Boris makes up his mind what he's going to be doing, and starts sticking to some form of plan, stops moving the goalposts every 5 minutes so people are confused as to what is going on, then obviously, hopefully, that will impact on us because, trust me, there's a lot of people who want to get over to Greece and spend some money and have a holiday here. But at the moment, they're having to pay extraordinary amounts of money if they want to do that. And as the statement says, we should be on the green list, all right? But let's get these vaccinations, let's get these tests down from £120 at least down to an affordable amount. Even 15, 20 pounds is affordable. 60 quid still puts a big cost on a holiday. And it also shows you how out of touch some of these ministers are into the realities of the everyday person in the street. So anyway, let's crack on. Anyway, another big story at the moment, and this is a very, very worrying story. This is the big story in Greece at the moment. A Greek journalist by the name of Giorgos Karaivaz was murdered yesterday by two men in an ambush at his home. At least 6 shots were fired at about 2:15 in the afternoon. Police collected more than, I'm not sure how this is correct in what they say, but according to the local press reports, police collected a total of 17 firearms from the crime scene while the investigation continues. Anyway, the case has been taken over by the Attica Security Crimes Against Life Department, basically the Attica Murder Squad. Officers took testimonies from people close to the victim in order to shed some light on the motives of the murder, which may pave the way for the investigation of the case. At the same time, the part concerning the journalist status of the victim and the issues he has dealt with came under the microscope of the police. However, it was clarified by the headquarters of the Greek police, Giorgos Karaivaz, had never reported any threats to him with the police, nor had asked for police protection at any time. Anyway, Giorgos Karaivaz was attacked when he got out of his car and entered the entrance of his apartment building where he was staying. The perpetrators, who were riding a scooter, according to the testimonies, approached him and shot him. Giorgos Karaivaz was returning at the time from the Star Channel, where he worked on a show called Truths with Zena, and his assassination has shocked the journalistic world. And he was also a married man and a father of one child. And I do know that Hermes and also Emira, the two major news channels here, have been covering stories about his basic execution in their newspapers. Also, Zanti 24 has been carrying the story as well, and other media outlets on Zakynthos and in the Ionian have been covering the story as well. Another report that's come out, which is, again, not a very good report. Everybody said what a great year for the turtles here in Zakynthos, with less people coming to the island. Obviously, the turtles were given a bit better of a breathing space in regards to recovery, etc. However, according to a report published by the Arcanon, that's the Sea Turtle Protection Society of Greece, they've published their annual report. They said that there's been a record number of deaths of sea turtles in Greece in 2020. Yet 700 sea turtles have been found dead in Greece. Now, the organisation, which was founded in 1983, to conserve the basically the sea the Caretta turtle, or the loggerhead sea turtle as it is known in other parts, said that they feel that number could be actually far higher, because the stats that they have taken this report from are from the Greek Coast Guard numbers. The Greek Coast Guard are obliged to keep a tally of the amount of dead turtles that they come across, and their number from their reports was about 700. But the Arcanon has also said that there's a lot of bays and nooks and crannies in Greece where humans cannot get down onto the beaches in those locations, and they feel that the death toll could be higher because obviously those deaths of those creatures go unrecorded because people can't get into those locations. Arcanon also said in their report that normally the death rate for deceased turtles is around about 500 to 600 turtles a year. They stressed that, again, they feared that the number could be higher with the 17,000 kilometres of shoreline, much of it inaccessible to human contact. Anyway, Arcanon has expressed in a statement that plastic pollution and the accidental catching of sea turtles by fishermen has posed one of the biggest threats to the endangered species. The majority of dead sea turtles have either consumed plastic waste, which has become trapped inside them. Sometimes plastic bags in water can look like a jellyfish to their eye, and they basically catch that, not realising that it is obviously plastic, and then it gets ingested and causes them problems. Also as well, fishermen using long lines, etc., and nets, sometimes they inadvertently catch the turtles and they don't always manage to rescue them in time before. Remember, turtles are air-breathing creatures that can just hold their breath for a long time, up to 30 minutes, and sometimes by the time the fishermen go to get the nets in, the poor creatures have passed. So anyway, also as well, in their report, the Berne Convention warned in an alarming press release. Also, I remember reporting this in 2020, the lack of protection for loggerheads in Greece. Some of the most important sea turtle habitats in the Mediterranean are located in Greece and Cyprus. I've got to be honest, in their last report, Zakynthos came out of it very well, actually. Zakynthos was looked upon as a kind of a model for the protection of turtles. However, I know Cyprus came in for a lot of criticism in the way that they handled the protection of turtles in that part of the world. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. And also the other thing to remember as well is the Arcanon's role here is very important for the National Marine Park, is because the Arcanon's report that they write reflects on the amount of money that the National Marine Park gets from the EU, so it can continue its work. So that's why I've got a lot of respect for the kids that come out and they spend the whole summer tagging and monitoring and rescuing the turtles, keeping an eye, and also giving people an education about the turtles, because it's through their efforts that the money is decided from the EU as to how much goes into the National Marine Park. And in the past, they've been very critical of some of the activities of the National Marine Park. And at one point, they even stopped finance to the National Marine Park while investigations were underway into fraud. So again, hats off to the Arcanon, and hopefully we'll see them back again here this year. When they will arrive, God knows, because at the moment they would normally arrive just as the season would start to kick off and start their monitoring of the beaches for the turtles coming to lay their eggs. Right, I was going to do an and finally story, but I think I've gone on a little bit too long. But I'm going to have a quick look at those people that are tuning in at the moment and see what comments we've had. Julie Meldrose is watching. Nice to have you tuning in, Julie. Rachel Harrison is also watching. Lindsay Lamb is watching as well. Rosewood is watching. Amanda Gregory is watching. And thank you for your fantastic weather forecast, Amanda. Jerry Coyle is watching. Big Al Thompson is watching as well. Mark Pumphrey is watching. Matt Williams is watching. Geordie Meldrum is watching as well. Nice to see you checking in, Raf Red Buddy. Shane Bowen is also tuning in as well. Julie Stevens is tuning in. Karen Bush is tuning in as well. Susie Angus is tuning in as well. Christine Brown is watching. Marie Hadelberg from Sweden is tuning in. How is the weather in Sweden today? Have you got sunshine yet? Amanda Gregory says, oh, bless her. Well done, Dr. Ginge. Oh, please, Jeremy, I was there with a little pair of nail clippers trying to cut away all this afterbirth and get this really weird tiny little plastic ring. I don't know where she'd picked that up from, but it had managed to get in on the end of her tail. So anyway, we managed to get that and she's doing well. Christine Brown says, brighter morning in Nottingham today. I'm pleased about that. Yvonne Monroe says, morning DJ Ginge. John Mims is watching, nice to see her. Shane Bowen says, Galimera Ginge, it's another beautiful day, but feeling the love to the royal family. Bless you, fella, nice to hear you speak like that way. It really does make my heart sing. Rachel Hanson says, sunny in Nottingham. It must be good in Nottingham. Teresa Ann Huggett is watching as well. Neil Bray is watching too. Andy Johnson is watching. Heather Nash is watching too. Shane Bowen says, what a brilliant set last night. So thoroughly enjoyed it, Ginge. Yeah, my dance anthem set went out last night as it would normally do on a Friday night on Beats Radio. It's going to be repeated today on Beats Radio at 4 o'clock your time in the UK till 6 o'clock. That's 6 o'clock our time till 8 o'clock. So I'll be sat on the balcony in the chat room having a read chat to people as you tune in. So once again, if you want to listen to some banging dance tunes over this weekend, by all means come and join me online tonight, beatsradio.co.uk, 4 o'clock your time in the UK. And thank you once again, Shane, for your support and also for your comments as well. Paul Green is tuning in as well. Christine Wildridge is tuning in. Paul Green says, morning, Ginge. Philip Ellis is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Janet Ferrant is watching. Heather Beetham is also tuning in as well. Chippy Woods over in Spain is also tuning in as well. Heather Ness says, morning to you and Jane from us. Oh, Heather over there in Birmingham. How's the weather in Birmingham today? Dave Norton is watching as well. Ken Grant is watching. Ashley Duncan is watching. Delia Gusser is watching. Andy Thompson is watching as well. Linda Gary is also watching. Ken Gant is watching as well. Nice to see you. Sue Waldron is also tuning in. John Baird, from my old mate from school, ex-fireman and stuff. Nice to see you tuning in, John. He's a big soul man, John. I've got to be honest. He loves his soul. Maria Hadelberg says, it's a sunny morning here in Sweden. It is only +0. All right, there you go. Just over a 0, but not quite 1-0. Probably about 0.5. Is it about right? Anyway, John Davis is watching as well. Liz Crystal is watching. I hope you're all right, and I hope Tim's doing well as well after his appointment at the hospital the other day. Marie Hadelberg says, morning, Ginge. Sun is improving, but only +0. Bless you. Have a great Saturday. Shane Bowen says, shoot that bloody cockerel that's done his job this year. Yeah, he does get a bit like, he gets a bit excited. He likes it. He knows he's talking to the world when he starts clucking away. Matt Pickard is watching in. Geordie Meldrum says, hi, Ginge. Thanks for your broadcast. Always very informative. Thank you for that. Wendy Norcliffe is also tuning in. Hilary Rogers is tuning in as well. Nice to have you looking in, Hilary. Emma Marco in Essex is tuning in. Stuart Hodgson is watching. He says, sorry, mate, just cock-a-doodle doing right over you. Maybe set on Beats Radio early morning slot. That could be a good idea. Jan Lawrence is watching. Zanti Pete said, good morning, Ginge, and all hearing the news. Thank you. Paul Green says, off for me jab. Good luck, fella. Have a good one. All right. Bridget and Derek and Bridget Cole living over in Cyprus. They're tuning in as well. Nice to have you looking in. Catherine Ling here on the island tuning in. Cherry Stott up on the north part of the island. My old mate Dan Blazer. Really, really nice to see you looking in, Dan. I hope everything's good with you. Dan and I used to work together many years ago when we used to DJ at Aria Fulton, and we DJ all over the country. Doing gigs for Studio One, and good lad. He's got his own DJ business down in the UK. I know he's been greatly affected by what's gone on with the lockdown and everything else, and he's also broadcasting on, I think, is it Red Tail Radio in the UK as well. Really nice lad, excellent DJ, and a good all-round good old egg. Anyway, nice to have you tuning in, Dan, as well. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is tuning in. Patrianne Dobson is tuning in. Margaret Miller is also there. Jill Steed. Karen Bush says hiya. Teresa Ann Huggett. Dave Matthews is watching. Thanks for your comments yesterday, Dave, as well, during the broadcast yesterday. I did my live broadcast, which was a little bit respectful, I think is the word to use. Not somber, but respectful. Once again, that is now up online. If you want to listen back to that, you can. And if you go on to Twitter and you find it, it's up there in its entirety where you can watch it as well as listen to the music on Twitter. Just go to DJ Ginge Twitter. You'll find me there, and you can watch the show with its video as well. John Clifford is also tuning in as well. Mark Anthony Teddin is there. Thank you, Mark. Also, Kevin Bell, Frank Proud, ex-Raf Reg Buddy. Nice to see you tuning in. And Rachel Hanson. Right, that's it from me. Thank you once again for all those people tuning in. Just remind you again, I'm back on air again this evening or this afternoon for you, 4 o'clock till 6, beatsradio.co.uk. Best of dance anthems, and I've got to be honest, recorded that well before what's happened during the week, and I'm pleased that I recorded it then, because it would have been difficult to have done it live yesterday. Also as well, don't forget, tomorrow night, Sunday night, I have got my Northern Soul show as well. The old ice cream van is out, driving from coast to coast, bringing you the best in Northern Soul for 2 hours from Greece, a bit of soul in the sun, and you can enjoy that show tomorrow. Right, that's it from me. I've got to go cook breakfast now because Lady Jane is waiting. I will speak to you again soon. I'll keep my eye out on the news, and I'll also give you updates on how the little kittens are getting on with Sweetie, and I'll catch you later. You take care and have a fantastic day. Ta-ra.